Okay, so welcome to this session. All right, my name is Agnes. Very nice to meet you. Okay, so let's start with a little introduction before we dive into the lesson. All right, so firstly, just tell me about yourself, something interesting about yourself. Okay, and the second thing is, what is your favorite topic in mathematics? The third question is, does your school use Singapore math textbooks? And the last question is basically, are you familiar with bar models? Okay, so who want to go first, Anne or Aditi? Okay, Aditi, would you like to go first?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so maybe how old are you? What are your hobbies, basically?
Okay, so I am 11
Mm-hmm.
and my hobbies are listening to music, singing,
Cool. Nice.
dancing,
Okay.
uh,
Sounds good.
and sometimes I like to draw.
Oh, wow. That's quite a nice hobby. Okay, so what is your favorite topic in mathematics?
Um, I don't really have a favorite, but I'm currently learning decimals.
Okay, that's good to know.
My school does not use Singapore math textbooks,
Okay, that's fine. That's perfect.
and by bar models, do you mean like the fraction bars?
Yes, the one where you have to draw those rectangles and then you can use them to
Yeah,
compare.
then
Okay,
I
mhm.
am.
Okay, so you guys call them fraction bars. That's fine. Okay, thank you for sharing. Okay, now it's Anne's turn. Okay, Anne, tell me more about yourself.
My name is An. I'm
Mm-hmm.
11 years old. I
Yeah,
play video games.
cool. Okay, so what's your favorite video game?
Video game. I like to play Minecraft.
Oh, cool. I've heard so much about it.
My school does not use Singapore math, and
Okay.
I don't have any favorite math topics, and
Oh dear.
I am familiar with bar models.
Okay, great. That's good to know. Okay, so I think both of you are quite familiar with bar models, so that's really good to hear. Okay, so let's continue. So now these are guidelines or rules to our lesson. Okay, so use the raise your hand icon if you have a question, or you can also type it in the chat box. Okay, so the duration of this lesson and subsequent lessons as well is going to be about 1 hour and 30 minutes. Okay, and homework for this lesson will be on Matholia. Okay, maybe for the next few lessons, it might be worksheets or whatsoever. Okay, so I will let you know at the end of the lesson. Okay, Matholia is quite a nice platform to practice your math. Okay, I've not found one student who does not like it. Okay, they really love Matholia because you can really practice a lot of questions there. Okay, but besides the homework that I assigned you, I really encourage you to try other topics as well. Okay, all right, now point 4, keep a notebook to jot down your workings and notes. I think it's very helpful, all right, so that you don't have like loose pieces of paper. Okay, so we strongly advise you to keep a notebook. And last but not least, like what you guys are doing right now, keep yourself muted, all right, and keep a notebook, switch on your mic only when you have to speak. Okay, all right, it's really very nice to meet the two of you. All right, let's move on to the next part now. Okay, and that would be the lesson objectives. Okay, so for the lesson objectives, okay, these are basically the lesson objectives. We're going to interpret ratios, find equivalent ratios. Okay, so these should sound maybe a little familiar because you might have find equivalent fractions before. Okay, so similarly, we're going to find ratios this time. Okay, express ratios in the simplest form. Hey, this sounds familiar again, simplest form. Okay, objective number 4 is to find the ratio of 2 and 3 quantities. Okay, number 5 is to understand the relationship between fractions and ratios. Okay, and solve word problems involving ratios. Okay, all right. by now you should be able to see the link between fraction and decimals. Okay, they are all connected one way or another. Of course, they are different, but they are similar as well. So you will see that fractions are related to decimals, to ratios, and when you go to grade 6, even percentage. Okay, all right. So now let's talk about what a ratio is. Okay, but before we start, anyone read up about this topic or know something about this topic? Okay, so this is extremely new to you, I assume. Okay, all right. Okay, so what is a ratio? Okay, a ratio is used to compare the quantities of two or more sets of objects. Okay, so basically what we are looking for is, we are not looking exactly at the number, but we are actually comparing the quantities. Okay, so 2 red apples to 3 green apples, for example. So the ratio is 2:3. Okay, so we read 2:3 or 2:3. Okay, and this is we use this symbol to actually represent ratio, 2:3, for example. Okay, so one very important application to ratio is actually when you bake a cake. Right? So you can say like for the ratio, sometimes when you listen to videos, they will say like the ratio is normally 1:3, right? So if you're putting maybe one box of cake mix, then maybe one box of cake mix can actually feed 3 people, for example. Or for if you're making fried rice, okay, so for every 1 cup of rice you use, you have to use 2 eggs, for example. Okay, so this is how you can see ratio in your everyday life. Okay, now the ratio of the number of green apples to the number of red apples is 3:2. So we read it as 3:2. Okay, now have you got any questions so far? Or is this crystal clear? Okay, Anne, have you got any questions? Okay, all right. Now, ratios do not have units. Okay, so what they mean by that is that we do not say 2 meters is to 3 meters, for example. We just put 2:3. Okay, so that's what they mean. Okay, so Mrs. Smith bought 3 pounds of apples and 5 pounds of oranges. The ratio of the mass of apples to the mass of oranges is 3:5. So this is an example here. So you see here, they do not say 3 pounds to 5 pounds, for example. They just put that 3:5. Okay, to compare as a ratio, the mass of both fruits must be in the same units, in this case, pounds. So it cannot be like, oh, 3 kg and 5 pounds. Because if you look at it in terms of conversion, it's different, right? You cannot say that, oh, this is 3 grams and then this is 5 kg. So the ratio of the apples to the oranges is 3 grams to 5 kg. That doesn't make sense. It has to be in the same units. Okay, any questions? Okay, now I would like you to make a ratio of something. Maybe you might want to form a ratio of your age to your to the age of your sister or your brother or your father or your mother or your guinea pig. Okay, so type it out in the chat box right now. Okay, I'm just going to give you 1 minute. Think of any ratio that you can come up with. Okay, it can also be the ratio of maybe the amount of money you save to the amount of money you spend, for example. Okay. Okay, so Anne came up with 11:6, my age to your brother's age. Very good. Well done. Okay, I'll just give Aditi a few more minutes. Okay, so you have very young siblings, I notice. Okay, so Aditi as well, to her brother is 11:5. Okay, all right. Cool stuff. Okay, great. Thank you for your ratios. Okay, so let's continue now. Okay, now 2 ribbons are cut into pieces of equal length. Okay, so if you see, they do not tell you the exact length, but you can see that there are the quantities here. So ribbon A to ribbon B is ribbon A is 4 units and ribbon B is 7 units. Okay, so it's 4:7. Okay, is the term units, is it very new to you? No, okay, good. Okay, Anne, what about yourself? Is the term units very new to you? Or have you come across it? Yes, okay. So sometimes we use units to represent a quantity. Okay, so there you go. So ratios show the relative length of 2 quantities compared, and the actual amount of each quantity may not be used. Okay, let me give you an example. Okay, let's just say that the ribbon A is actually 16 meters. Okay, and ribbon B is actually 28 meters. Okay, when you find the ratio 16:28, okay, just like fractions, we have to simplify them. Okay, this is what we're going to learn in the later part of the lesson. So when we divide by 4, we get 4:7. So through this ratio, you can see that we don't actually see their length, right? It's just a ratio of the quantities. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Okay, before we move on, have you all got any questions for me to answer? Okay, so let's move on then.
Wait,
Okay, yes, Aditi.
just to make sure, is simplifying ratios basically like simplifying fractions?
Yes, okay, so for example, for fraction is like 5:10, 5/10, and then you divide by 5, you divide by 5, you get 1/2. Okay, and for ratio it's like 5:10, and same thing, you divide by 5, you divide by 5, you get 1:2. So pretty much it's the same, right? Okay, good that you asked that question. Thank you for that question. Okay, now I'm going to give you 2 minutes to work on this. Okay, and then I'm going to ask you some questions. Okay, ready? Okay, so your 2 minutes starts now. Okay, this seems to be going faster than I expected it to be. So maybe we can go through this in half a minute.
Are we supposed to chat it to you?
You can just note down your numbers and then I will ask you maybe at the end of 1 minute. Okay, would that be okay?
Yeah, okay.
Cool. Okay, so anyone needs a bit more time? Okay, so let's...
Favor, can I see the definition again of ratio?
Sure, that's fine. Hang on. Okay, it's used to compare 2 quantities of 2 or more sets of objects. Okay. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine.
Cool, thank you. All right, so, oopsie. Okay, so let's start with Anne. Okay, Anne, what's your answer for the first one? Number of units in A to number of units in B.
3 to 7.
3 to 7, okay. All right. Okay, so Aditi, can you do the second one? What's the number of units in B to the number of units in C?
7 to 4.
Nice work, 7 to 4. Okay, and number of units in C to number of units in A. So here we have 4, and here we have 3. Okay, so it's 4 is to 3. Okay, all right, so this is easy peasy. All right, let's move on to the other questions. Okay, let's work on a word problem now. All right, so there are 20 children playing at the playground. If 7 of them are girls, find the ratio of boys to the number of girls. Okay, so there are 20 of them, 7 of them are girls. So how many of them are boys then? So what we have to do is we have to take 20 minus 7. Okay, so 13 of them are boys. Okay, so now we have to find the ratio of the number of boys to the number of girls. Okay, so that would be, okay, so this is how I present my working. So boys to girls would be, boys would be 13 and girls would be 7. Okay, can I further simplify this? No, okay, because we can't divide them by a common number. So it will be 13 is to 7. Okay? All right, if you have any questions or if I'm going too fast, just type it out in the chat box, okay? Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 minutes to work on this now. All right, this question. Okay, and maybe you can send me a message on chat once you are done, and then I will let you know if you're correct or if you have to try it again. Okay, so you're
So
two.
do you put the answer in the chat, or do we just say if we're done?
The answer, please.
Okay.
Okay, so type your answer in the chat. Okay, thank you. All right, so your 2 minutes starts now. Oh, sorry, Aditi. Sorry about that. Yours is fine. Okay, let's go through the answers for this one. Okay, so there's a sentence there to trick you a bit, because they say here that Ben puts 4 more green marbles into the bottle. So at first there were 5 red marbles and 2 green marbles, but then he added 4 more. Okay, so then you have 6 green marbles. Okay, and then they ask you to find the ratio of the number of green marbles to the total, right? So what's the total? 6 plus 5, and that would be 11. Okay, so the green marbles to the total number of marbles would be 6 is to 11. Okay, ratio is it can be very easy, but it can get very tricky. Okay, so remember to check your answers. All right, but great effort, both of you. Okay, let's work on the next one now. Okay, so now we are working on equivalent ratios. Okay. Okay, so Damien bought 6 pears and 18 apples. Okay, so the ratio of the number of pears to the number of apples is, anyone? Yes, Aditi.
1 to 3.
1 to 3, okay. That's before, that's after you simplify it, but at first you get 6:18. Okay, so well done, good. Okay, so Damien put each pear on a plate. Okay, and he put each apple on a plate. So there was one fruit on each plate. And the ratio of the number of plates of pears to the number of plates of apples is, okay, that's what you have to find out.
Isn't it the same thing since one fruit is on each plate?
Yes, okay. So Anne, what do you think?
I think it's 1 to 3.
1:3 as well, okay? All right, because now they're just putting all the fruits on a plate. All right, so there you go. Okay, let's look at the next one now. Okay, Damien puts 3 pears on each plate and 3 apples on each plate. So the ratio of the number of plates of pears to the number of plates of apples. Okay, so Anne, what is the answer for this one?
1 to 3.
1 to 3?
Yeah.
Okay, because they are asking for the number of plates.
Yeah, 2 to 6 is 1 to 3.
Okay, good. So 2:6, and then you still get 1:3. Okay, excuse me. Okay, and then you will see the same thing here again. You will see 1:3. Okay, and if you notice, okay, that in the previous questions, okay, it's not that I forgot to put 1:3. Okay, but the reason why I put 2:6 or 6:18 and so on and so forth is to show you that they are equivalent ratios, okay? And you will see them here. Okay, so what are the equivalent ratios from the exercise? Okay, basically we got 6:18, and then you got 2:6, okay? And was there another, and 1:3. So they are all equivalent ratios, okay? Now, in exercise 4, the greatest possible number of pears was put on a plate. Okay, and the simplest form of this equivalent ratio is, it will be the same thing basically. Okay, so these are equivalent ratios for you. Okay, so how do we find equivalent ratios? Basically, it's the same as equivalent fractions. Okay, all right. So what you can do is you can try to divide them by common numbers. That's method 1. Okay, if you are really very pro, you really like dividing by big numbers, you can do method 2, and you can use the greatest common factor of 6 and 18, and then you will know that it's 6, and then you can just divide them. Okay, all right. Okay, so like for example, if you get something like 4:100, okay, so you can just directly divide them by 4 and you get 1:25, for example. Okay, so these are equivalent fractions. Okay, so complete the following. Now we want to find this one here. So what should we multiply them by? Basically, from 7, you're getting 21. So you have to take 21 divided by 7, you get 3 here. Okay, and so you're doing the same thing here. So what's 27 divided by 3? You get 9. Okay, so this is easy peasy. Okay, what I would like you to do now is I would like you to rate ratios so far, what you have learned so far on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 is very easy. Okay, and no, sorry, 1 is very easy, and 5 is, it's very challenging. Okay, so shall we start with Aditi? Aditi, what do you think? How would you rate it?
So far, it's 1 because this is basically like fractions. There's nothing different. It's
Okay.
just that the second number
Mhm.
is the denominator basically, and the first number is the numerator, kind of.
Kind of, yes, if you are comparing it. Okay, later on we will look at how is it related. Okay, okay, what about Anne? How how would you rate it?
1.
1. Okay, that's good to know. All right, great. Now let's move on. Okay, can you work this out, please, and tell me your answers? Okay, can you work this out now? 6:5. Okay, you get a ratio of 24 is to something. So first, there are two parts. This is A and this is B. What is your answer for A and what is your answer for B? Okay.
We should type it in the chat, right?
Yes. Okay. Okay. All right. So both of you suggested that after times by 4. Okay, well done. Very good. Okay, let's move on to the next part now. Okay, so find the missing number in each of the following equivalent ratios. Okay, so I would like you to work on this as well. Okay, I'll give you about roughly a minute to work on it. Type your answers and send it to me via the chat box. Okay. Okay. Shall we go through the answers?
Wait, not yet. I'm almost done.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Okay, let me just have a quick peep. Okay, looks good to me. Okay, so from 3, how do we get 9? We multiply by 3. Okay, so likewise 15. So you should get 9 is to 15. And this one we are dividing by 4. So we get 5 is to 2. Okay, so well done. Okay, let's move on. Okay, we've got more questions here. Okay, this one should be a B. All right. Okay, could you work on this now? Bigger numbers, I believe. Okay, for this one, I'm going to change this to 4 is 12. Yeah, that's one way to do it. I'm just going to change this to You can actually divide it by a decimal, but to make things slightly easier, I'm going to change this to 2. Okay. Okay, so I got 7:3 for this one and 2:3. Okay, well done. All right, let's move on. Okay. Now write each ratio in its simplest form. Okay, so I get a sense here that it's getting very easy for you. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work a little bit more on speed. Okay, all right, so this is going to be a 1-minute challenge. All right, just to test your accuracy. Okay, so your 1 minute starts now. You can type it in the chat box, or at the end of that 1 minute, I can just ask you that answer. Okay, so your sorry?
Do you mean both of them in 1 minute or just?
Yes, 2 questions in 1 minute. Okay, your time starts now. Okay. All right, so well done, guys. Okay, so this one, when you simplify it, you get 4:7. And when you simplify this, you divide by 5 on both sides, you get 6:5. Okay, all right, well done. Okay, now let's work on this word problem. Okay, I'm going to give you about 3 minutes to work on this. Okay, would that be enough? Okay, I'll give you about 4 minutes to work on this. Okay, if you need extra time, then you can just ask me for it. But let's try to work it within that 4 minutes. Okay, our time starts now. Okay. Oops. Oh, sorry about that. There you go. Okay, I think I sent you a message wrongly. Okay, but how are you doing? Is it okay? it going fine?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't see the message. I forgot to simplify. I'll simplify now.
Oh, okay, you can try this as well. Have you finished the question?
Is it this?
Okay, hang on. Okay, good. All right, so basically you guys got 18 is to 42, and then when you divide it by 6, you get 3 is to 7. Okay, so well done. Let's move on. Okay. Now, what about this? Find the ratio of 600 grams to 2 kg and 40 grams. Okay, so this includes conversion as well. All right. So I think we can use the rest of the, I can give you about 1 minute to solve this. All right, your time starts now.
Wait, what does it mean by 2 kg and 40 g?
40 grams.
Yeah, I know, but does it mean like both of them combined?
Yes. So this is one quantity. This is another one. Okay, so let me just give you a hint here. How many grams are there in 1 kg?
1,000.
Yes, 1,000. Good. Okay. Okay, just maybe half a minute to just round up your answer. Okay. Okay, I get a decimal here. Okay, it's good that you're giving me a decimal so that I know that I can tell you this. Okay, your ratios are never in decimals. It should always be numbers in that sense. Okay,
Oh,
but
so
that's
go ahead.
okay. So can you,
Where is
okay, maybe I'll give you another 1 to 2 minutes to convert them back to a number. So for example, let me just guide you a little here. 600 grams, okay, is to 2 kg and 40 grams. 2 kg, this is 2,000 grams. So this one is 40, so 2,040. Okay, so can you
Oh.
simplify this for me, please?
So instead of converting it to kg, we're converting it to grams. Got it.
Yes, okay. Okay, 60 and 204. You can definitely simplify this because 60 and 204 are even numbers. Okay, so that should tell you that you can simplify that. Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to guide you a little. I like this question because you don't know when to stop simplifying. All right, so let's see, 600 and 2,040. The best thing is to cancel the zeros first. And then 60 and 204, they are multiples of 4. So when you divide it by 4, you get 15 and 51. Okay, that's one way of doing it. Or you can also 600 divided by 2, you get 300, and then 300, oh sorry, 30 divided by 2, you get 15. You can simplify it that way as well. Okay, now 15 and 51, okay, you can further simplify it by 3. Okay, so 15 divided by 3, you get 5. And 51 divided by 3, you get 17. Okay? All right, did you get that? Okay, I hope you did get that. Okay, so now I'm going to give you another question, something similar. Okay, let's see. Okay, good job, Anand and Aditi. Now, I'm going to give you another question now. Okay, this time it's about meters and kilometers. Okay, so find the ratio of, let's see, I have to give you a very nice number. Let's do 300 meters to, oh, this one's nice, 4 kilometer and 200 meters. Okay?
Isn't that basically like the last question?
Yes. Okay, but yeah, all right.
Done.
Okay, nice work, Aditi and An. Very good. So you got 300 to 4,200. Okay, so you could have divided it by 300 and you would have gotten 1:14. Okay, very good. Okay, or you could have done it very simply by dividing it by 100 first. You get 3:42. And then when you divide by 3 on both sides, you get 1:14. Okay, so well done. All right, let's move on. Now, we are going to talk about 3 quantities. Okay, and that's what's so fun about ratio, because fraction, normally it's just 2 quantities. Okay, so Ryan has 3 red marbles, 15 blue marbles, and 12 green marbles. So find the ratio of the number of red marbles to the number of blue marbles to the number of green marbles. Okay, so firstly, we just write them out. So 3:15:12. And all 3 of them are factors of 3. So we divide them by 3. We get 1:5:4. Okay, please take note that all 3 numbers should be divided by that same common factor. Okay, I cannot say, oh, I'm going to divide 3 and 15 by 3 and then 3 and 12 by 4. That doesn't work that way. Okay, so take note of that. Okay, so I would like you to try this question now. Okay, I'm going to label this as part A and this as part B. Okay, send me your answers via the chat. Okay, so basically we are dividing all of them by 2. Okay. All right. Good. Okay, so we're dividing all of them by 2. So this one becomes 14 divided by 2 becomes 7. And then 4 divided by 2 is 2. So it becomes 7 is to 2 is to 3. Okay, so there you go. All right. Okay, next. Okay, I'm going to skip this part because I think this is too easy for you. So I'll just move on to the next one with bigger numbers. Okay, so I'm going to give you about 1 to 2 minutes to work on this now. Okay, 42 is to 54 is to 30, and 10 is to 25 is to 40. Okay, so for the very first one, you would have gotten 7 is to 9 is to 5. Very good. And the second one, okay, you would have gotten 2 is to 5 is to 8. Okay, well done. Very good. Okay, now let's look at word problems now. Okay, so Andy, Bob, and Charlie shared $100. Andy received $20. Bob received $45, and Charlie received the rest. Okay, so find the ratio of Andy's share to Bob's share to Charlie's share. Okay, so Anne, can you tell me how much did Charlie receive?
Charlie received 35.
Okay, so 100 minus 45 minus 20, you should get. Okay, so it's 100 minus 65, you get $35. Okay, and now we can find the ratio. Okay, so Aditi, can you give me the ratio, please?
I didn't solve it yet.
Okay. Can you maybe tell me how much does Andy have?
Andy received $20.
A good job. Okay, and then Bob will be 45. Okay, and then Charlie would be 35. Okay, can you help me to simplify? Can you simplify it and then send it to me via chat? Okay, 20 is to 45 is to 35. Okay, good job, guys. Good. Okay, let's move on to the next part. Okay, this one. During lunch break, 12 plates of baked rice, 15 plates of pasta, and 24 plates of salad were sold at the snack bar. So I'm going to highlight this or underline this. Okay, so find the ratio of the number of plates of baked rice to the number of plates of pasta to the number of plates of salad. Okay, and give your answer in this simplest form. Okay, why I highlighted is that sometimes they can change the question a bit. Okay, so it's always good to underline it and make sure you understand the question. So for this one is baked rice to pasta to salad. So it's 12 is to 15 is to 24. Okay, can someone tell me what's the common factor among these three numbers? Okay, I see some answers here. The common factor is 3. Okay, so you should get 4:5:8. Okay. All right, well done. Okay. This one, I'm going to give you some time to work on this one. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes to work on this. Okay, and then we will discuss this question because it's quite different, I would say. Okay, let me know if you have any questions about this or you need me to give you some hint about this.
How are you supposed to do this if you don't even find one actual value?
Okay, this one is about manipulating the ratio a bit. That's my hint to you. Okay. All right, making sure that the ratios are the same. Can you try to multiply the numbers in the ratio so that they are equal to each other? Yes, Aditi?
What do you mean by equal to each other?
Okay, let's see. Renee is to Joanne is, okay, 3:1. Okay.
Wait, can I give you my answer and then?
Sure, that's fine.
I just want to see if what I think is correct.
That's okay, Aditi, no worries, okay? Okay, Aditi, do you mind if I go through this question? Would that be okay?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, all right. So remember at the start of the lesson, I said that ratio is actually about quantities, right? So we can actually try to make the quantities equal to each other, right? Because here when you compare Renee and Joanne, it's 3:1, okay? But Joanne to Pauline is 2:1. So we can make them equal, right? Because here Joanne is 2 and here Joanne is 1. So if I want to combine the ratios here, okay, I can multiply this by 2 and then I get 6:2:1 for Renee to Joanne to Pauline. Does that make sense? Okay, all right.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, next one. Okay, now let's move on to ratios in fraction form. Okay, now Tom has some green and yellow beads. The ratio of the number of yellow beads to the number of green beads is 4:7. So what fraction of the beads are yellow and what fraction of the beads are green? Okay, can you send me your answers for this one? Okay, for part A and part B. Okay, your answer should be in a fraction. So maybe if you want, you can use the, there is no fraction symbol on your keyboard. So maybe you can use this one, the slash. Maybe if you want to say 1/2 like this. Okay. So what fraction of them are yellow and what fraction of them are green? Okay, send it to me via chat. Okay. Okay. Okay, Anne, what about yourself? Okay, I see one coming in too. Okay, good job, guys. Very good. Okay, so here we have the bar model here. Okay, so for the yellow beads there are 4 units. Okay, and for the green beads there are 7 units. So the total is 11 units. So the fraction, what fraction of them are yellow? 4 is to 11. Okay, and what fraction is green? That will be 7 is to 11. Okay, so well done, guys. Very good. Okay. Now, this one's slightly different. Mary cut a rope into 2 pieces. The length of the first piece was 2/3 the length of the second piece. Okay, so what is the ratio of the length of the first piece to the second piece, to the length of the second piece? Right? So what we see here is we see a fraction, and in this fraction, they're actually comparing. And this is actually a ratio, because you will see that this 2 actually is the quantity for the first piece, and this 3 is the number of the quantity for the second piece. So we can see from here that the first piece, there are 2 units, 1, 2, and the second piece would be 3 units. Okay, is this clear? Okay, if you do not understand this, can you please send me a message on the chat box so I'm aware of it, or you can raise your hand so I know. Okay, and what is the ratio of the length of the second piece to the length of the rope? So the length of the second piece is 3 units, and the length of the rope is 5, right? Because you're adding the first rope and the first piece and the second piece. So it will be 3 is to 5. Okay, so for this concept, okay, how would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 5? Okay, let's start with Anne. Anne, what do you think? Do you think this is very easy?
Yeah.
Okay, so you rate it a 1.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for sharing that with me. Aditi, what about yourself?
Mine's still a 1.
1. Oh, wow. Okay, that's very good to know. So I think in the next session, I have to make this much more challenging. Okay, but I think you are also doing a very good job. So I think that explains why you are able to understand the concept so quickly. Okay, so type your answers in the chat box for this one. Which model correctly shows that A is 4 out of 3 times B? Okay, which model would that be? Okay, yes, well done, guys. It's B. Well done. Okay, next, let's move on to the word problems. Okay. Okay, I think this one, okay, I think maybe now we can work on speed right now. So I think I'll give you 2 minutes to solve each question, okay? And then we will look at the answers. Okay, so your 2 minutes for this question starts now. Okay. All right, good job, guys. So now the number of boys to the number of girls is 3:2, or the ratio, okay, is 3:2. And the total number of children is 80. Okay, so that means that 3 plus 2 is 5 units. Okay, so 5 units is equals to 80. Okay, and then 1 unit would be 16. Okay, and now you want to find the number of boys, which is 3 units. So you should get 48. Okay, so well done. Very good. Okay, let's move on to the second one. Okay. Okay, so find the ratio of Jean's mass, or find Jean's mass rather. Okay. Okay. I'll go through this in half a minute. Okay. All right, great. Okay, so as can be seen, 7 units is equals to 42. Okay, so 1 unit is 6. Okay, and Jean has 5 units. That's the mass of, that's her mass basically. So 5 units would be 6 times 5. Okay, and that would be 30 kg. Okay, well done, very good. Okay, next. Okay, let's work on this now. I'll give you 2 minutes for this one. Oh no, what happened here? Okay, sorry about that. Okay, there you go. Okay, all right, let's have a look and check the answers now. Okay, so this is the ratio that we got. 4:7:5. The shortest one is 36 cm. So it has to be, they're referring to the 4 units there. So 4 units is 36. Okay, so 1 unit would be 9, because this has to be 36. So this is 9. Okay, so you want to find the length of the original piece of ribbon. So the total number of units would be 4 plus 7 plus 5. So the total number of units then would be 16 units. Okay, So 16 units would be 16 times 9. So what do you get? 16 times 9. Okay, so 6 times 9 is 54. So when you add them all together, you get 144 cm. Okay, so I hope this is clear. All right. Okay, let's move on to the next part now. Okay. Okay, this one's slightly different. Okay, the ratio of Mark's marbles to Ben's marbles is 3:8. If Mark has 45 fewer marbles than Ben, how many marbles does Ben have? Okay, so maybe I'll give you about a minute to solve this. Would that be okay? Okay, let's look at this one now. Okay, so Mark has 3 units and Ben has 8 units. So the ratio is 3:8. Okay. All right, let me just tidy this up a bit because it's really a skill to draw a bar model on Zoom. Okay. All right, so it's 3:8. Okay, so if Mark has 45 fewer marbles than Ben, so this is the fewer marbles here, and this is 45. Okay, so that means that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 units is 45. Okay, so if 5 units is 45, 1 unit would be 45 divided by 5, that will give you 9. So how many marbles does Ben have? Okay, that looks more like an 8 rather than a B. This one here. Okay, so Ben has 9 units. So it would be, or rather 8 units. Yes, 8 units, pardon me. So 8 times 9 is 72. Okay, all right. So there you go. Okay, let's work on this one now. I'll give you about 3 minutes for this one. Okay, well done. Very good. Okay. Now, Jane is to Tammy is 2:1. Okay, and Tammy is to Mary is 3:1. Okay, so this one is 3 here, and this one is 1, right? So we have to make the quantities make sure that they're equal. So we multiply this by 3, we multiply this by 3. So we get 6:3. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to combine the ratios so that it's easier for me to work with. So it will be 6:3:1. So if Mary typed 70 words, okay, Jane would have typed 6 times the amount that Mary typed. So it will be 70 times 6, which is 420. Okay, very good. Well done. Okay, now this one, 2 minutes. Okay, you've got about, let's see, half a minute more. Do you need more time to solve this? Okay. Okay. Yeah, Anne, how are you doing? Do you need any help? Oopsie. Okay, you're confused on this one. Okay, Anne, can you tell me what are you confused about? Shall we look at it? Okay, so now Sam's savings to Jane's saving is savings is 7 out of 5 of Jane's savings. So that means that their ratio is 7:5. Okay, so what is the ratio of Sam's savings to Jane's savings to their total savings? That would be 7:5:12. Okay, now the second part, Jane saves $40 less than Sam. And that's because Sam has 2 units more than Jane. Okay, so what that means is that 2 units is $40. Okay, so how much did both of them save all together? Okay, all right. Okay, so you can, 2 units is $40. So 1 unit is $20. Okay. And how much did they save altogether? That's 12 units. So 12 times 20, you get $240. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 5, can you rate this question? About the wording, okay. So Anne, can you maybe tell me which part did you find quite confusing? You can tell it to me on audio, if that's fine with you. Oh, the 7 out of 5, okay. Is it because normally you see that it's 5 out of 7 and then suddenly they throw 7 out of 5 to you? Okay, okay, that's good to know. Okay, can you rate this question, please, Aditi?
I would give it a 2.
A 2, okay, okay, not bad. Okay, and Anne, what about yourself? Would you give it a 0.5 or a 2.5 or something? Okay. He would give it a 1 as well. Okay, fine. Okay. All right, so that's it for now. Okay, I think you guys have done a really good job. Okay, you basically breezed through this. Okay, so before we move on to the next activity, okay, I would like to tell you what's your homework for week 1, and that is Matholia. Okay, so Matholia, like I mentioned once again, that's your math portal. Okay, you would have received your logins by now. Okay, so all you have to do is log into the account and you just click on your task and you will see that I've assigned you 5 tasks to work on for ratio. Okay, I think based on how we have done today, probably maybe the word problems will be something that you find okay, like, and the rest of it you might find it slightly more and slightly less challenging, but I think it's good for you to if you find that it's too easy, then maybe you can work on your speed, like give yourselves a certain time limit to work on those questions then if you find it too easy. Okay, I hope I'm making sense there. Yeah, so like for example, if you find it too easy, then maybe you can assign yourself 1 minute for each question, for example. Okay, and also feel free to try other topics and other practices as well. Okay, all right, so for the final activity, what I would like you to do now is, okay, first I would like to take questions. Okay, are there any questions that you'd like to ask me about ratio? Okay, so can I take it that it's a no? Okay, you can also, if you feel very, very shy, you can always send it to me via chat. Okay, so if you don't have questions, then I have questions for you. Okay, my first question is, okay, what can we use ratio for? Okay, how can we use ratio in our everyday life? Okay, yes, Aditi?
Like you said in the beginning, we can use it while cooking.
Okay, good. I can see from that you like to cook. Do you?
Well, I like helping.
Oh, nice. Okay, that's a good start. Okay, good guess, Agnes. Okay, good job. Okay, and Anne, what about yourself? How can you apply ratio to your everyday life?
Like maybe I don't know. Maybe like if you're doing a job together, then like whoever does more, then they get more money. I don't know.
Yes, and then you compare it that way. I'm just wondering, can you use ratio in Minecraft?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know as well. Maybe I should find that out. Okay, but okay, cool stuff. Okay, now I have another activity for you to do. Okay, and what I would like you to do is, I promise you it's super fun. Okay, I would like you to come up with your own word problem. Okay, I would like you to come up with your own word problem, okay, and solutions. Okay, so you can use any one of the concepts that I've just taught you. Okay, and you can use this to come up with your own word problem. So I'll give you maybe about 3 to 4 minutes to come up with that, and you can type that out in your chat box. Okay, all right, try to make it a very challenging one, all right? Okay, and if you need any help, let me know. Okay.
So we're supposed to make our own word problems with ratios?
Yes, that's right. Okay, maybe you might want to work on something that you feel that you have to work more on, like maybe the one that uses a fraction, like Tom has 5/3 the amount of money as Mary, for example. So if Tom has $50, how much does Mary have? But make it more challenging. Maybe I can give you a few examples here. Okay, all right. Okay, so I've got one question here. Okay, one more question here. Okay, this one I would rate this difficulty to maybe, let's see, maybe on a scale of 1 to 5, maybe this is between a 1 and a 2. So maybe, Anne, I challenge you to come up with a question that whose difficulty level is about a 3 or 4, perhaps. Okay, so make it as challenging as you can.
But what if we don't even know what our difficulty level is?
Yeah, maybe to yourself in terms of the concept. I think this one is about 2, I think, right? And then you can make it more challenging by maybe using a bigger number perhaps, or something like that. Or maybe you can combine 2 concepts together. It's just for you to apply your understanding, okay? Okay, I'm just going to round up the lesson, but what you can do is you can think about a question, okay, and you can come up with that question and you can send it to me through your portal, okay, or you can just send it to me in class in the next lesson, and I would like to look at your question, and maybe we can work on that question during class as well. Okay, but right now let's do a reflection on what we have learned, okay. All right, so maybe each of you can share, what did you learn? Did you learn something new, or maybe you can share with me which concept do you find new, interesting, or challenging? Okay, or okay, so it can be one of these two. Okay, one of it is that a new, challenging, interesting concept. So that could be one. Okay, or 2, you can tell me, was there something new that you learned? Something new? Did you learn something new? Okay, and what would you like to learn more about? Okay, so who wants to go first? Okay, Aditi, you look like you're ever ready. Would you like to go first?
Well, what do you mean by new, challenging, and interesting concept?
Yes, did you learn anything? What do you find challenging or interesting or new? You can talk about any one of them.
Oh, well, I'm gonna answer 1 and 2 at the same time.
Okay.
So, for what was the last problem that we did?
The one where you have to, where they say that it's like the fraction, right? 7/5, for example. So Tom's savings is 7/5. Mary's savings. Is that what you're referring to? Is it this concept that you're
Yeah.
talking about? Okay.
Yeah. So that's new.
Mhm.
Like I've never heard a problem like that before.
Oopsie. Okay. And is there something you would like to learn more about?
Well, I don't think so.
Not
Well,
yet, or maybe you haven't thought of that yet.
Yeah,
That's
I
fine.
haven't thought of it yet.
Okay, but if it comes to your mind, let me know. Okay, no worries. Okay, what about you, Anne? What are your thoughts?
I learned ratios today. I think they're interesting. They're like fractions.
Okay, all right. And did you find a particular concept interesting?
Like, what do you mean? Like,
Like any particular one, like for example, Aditi spoke about the fraction and how it's related to ratios. Okay, what about yourself?
The one that was like the last problem, because the wording kind of confuses me.
Okay, yeah, and you're not the first student who has told me that, but okay, that's very good to know. Okay, good. Maybe we can do more of that next time, and maybe I can incorporate other topics as well. Okay, is there something you would like to learn more about?
Like another math skill?
Yes.
I think algebra is really cool.
Okay, cool stuff. All right, Aditi, what about yourself? Do you like algebra as well?
I haven't learned any algebra, so
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, but I hear a lot of grade 5 students talking about that, so it's really interesting. Okay, cool stuff, guys. Thank you all for your kind attention, your effort. You did really well today. Thank you so much. Okay, and I would like to wish you a very nice day ahead and see you in the next session. Okay, thank you so much.
Bye, thank you.
Bye. Bye, Aditi.